and you can absolutely free roll. Well, I'm going to stay with you because we're going to go to the women now. Obviously, a lot of our, well, I know that Snize, well, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to go to you second, Snize, because I know you're holding a plus 600 ticket on Muguruza. I cannot believe that Muguruza has gone through this tournament in the style she has, well.
I guess did you not watch Wimbledon 2 years ago?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it was the same kind of thing. She came into that tournament, her form was so poor. And like she had gotten like bageled in Mallorca leading into that Wimbledon tournament, and it was literally like, why is she even here? Like, just save up for next year because she doesn't have the goods. She didn't look great early. She picked up a little momentum, and she has kind of shown us now twice in the course of her career where she's come into slams like this with a mindset of, I'm going to go, this is my arc. I'm not necessarily going to be blowing players off the court in rounds 1 and 2. I have a draw that lends itself to playing myself into form a bit. And I think you can actually probably credit a ton of this to her, being reunited with her coach, Martinez, who is he's got to be one of the better minds among the women's tennis coaches and really has given us the best Muguruza to watch in this tournament. And it's been super exciting to be a part of it because it's when she's out there and she's performing her best, it is so fun to watch. It is such a spectacular brand of tennis. You get the highs and lows of the unforced errors with the wow winners. That's not necessarily common in every women's tennis match. And so it's amazing to see it from Muguruza when she's got the goods. And, she's a big, in my opinion at least, she's a big match player. You look at kind of her as a mature adult and how she's done on the tour, as in the women's tour, more broadly. She's 7-1 in finals in her career on tour. Since turning like 22 or 23. That to me tells me that she absolutely has the goods in when the moment gets the biggest, when she's playing players of the highest caliber. She brings her A game. And, this is not by any means going to be a pushover match for her. But, kind of like we were talking about for Team Djokovic about the weather and the conditions, I'm expecting almost certainly that we see a closed roof tonight and that this court is a heck of a lot faster than what Kenin has had to, experience with through this fortnight to this point. And I think that absolutely the closed roof, the conditions favor Muguruza. I don't expect that this is a very clean and fun to watch match out of the gate. There's going to be a huge adjustment period while the two players kind of get used to the conditions because they're going to be so different than what they had for days 1 through 10 and then what they had in their semifinals. So I think that lends itself to a first set over here. I do think that, the likelihood that this goes to, say, a tiebreak or even, 7-5, it definitely past, 6-3, in my opinion, is high. I got into over 9.5 games here in the first set at -103, and I think that's the most, optimal way to approach the match overall. But I do think Muguruza is able to outlast, to come up with the winner when needed, to raise her game to a level that gets her that first set in a very, very closely contested set. And at that point, she tends a tendency to really develop some momentum, run downhill, and run her opponent off the court. Which I think lends itself to her winning 2-0 and her covering her game's handicap. So that's the way I've approached this one, expecting Muguruza to get her third ever slam title, first ever on hard court. And her play in this fortnight has been pretty inspiring, and hopeful that she's a player all throughout this season, as opposed to just disappearing again like she has over the last couple times after winning a slam.
Yeah, I mean, I had Muguruza when she was at plus 1,200 at Wimbledon. I told everyone that she was an absolute class outfit, and yet nothing that she'd done before actually backed up my statement other than her winning. Snize, plus 600 ticket. Do you hedge on this occasion, or can you give me a Kenin statement that she can win this?
We are not hedging here. We are in, if you followed along me over on Odds Market, you maybe have seen me on the US Open stating from day one that Bianca Andreescu was going to win the tournament. She faced Serena Williams in front of 20,000 crazy home fans. I bet on her money line, I bet on her games, and I bet on her 2-0. doubling down. We're going to double down here again. Garbiñe Muguruza wins this title in style. But let's talk a little bit about Sofia Kenin here, or Sonia Kenin, as she prefers to go by, as she is Russian-born. So I'll call her Sonia from now on. Because Will didn't really say a whole lot about her. He talked a lot about Garbiñe, but we got to get both sides. So Kenin, I mean, last season really showed what's to come from her. Surge from ranked number 56 to ranked number 14 in the world, took 3 titles. And she's just a fantastic player. She's great off both wings. She's a little bit in the middle of a counterpuncher and an aggressive hitter. She can both counterpunch and take her shots when the opportunity presents itself. She has an effective serve as well, which is also a boost. Have seen a lot of good serving from her this fortnight. But the most impressive part about her, for me, is her inner game, her mental strength, her mental fortitude. I don't think she'll be shook by this occasion being the final. She was up against the world number 1 and the home favorite Ashley Barty in the semi-finals, and the Barty choked. She crumbled under the pressure. She couldn't handle it. She didn't play her best tennis, but Sonia Kenin was there to take advantage, and she said that she's looking forward to this final. So she'll definitely not just lay down and die. But it is indeed a first slam final, which it won't be for Garbiñe. This is her 4th, and she is the only woman in tennis history to have defeated both Williams sisters in a Grand Slam final. Let me just put that out there. And both of those victories were in straight sets to boot. Absolute demolition. The thing with Garbiñe, when she gets hot, when she's in form, the former world number 1 is borderline unstoppable. And it will take a performance of a lifetime from Sonia to be able to defeat her here. She's been completely off the rails in 2019. It was her worst season yet. First out of the top 20. Since 2014, but reunited with Hall of Fame player recently inducted Conchita Martinez, and probably might be going there as a coach as well. She's been on an absolute tear, 11-1 this season, and she's downed 3 top 10 players in straight sets en route to this final. And she's got this aggressive, big hitting game that can just blow anyone off the court, and I think that happens to Kenin here. Kenin has shown in the past that she's vulnerable when she's facing the biggest hitters, the big elite hitters. And almost all of her losses last year came to these type of players, the likes of Kvitova, Keys, Pliskova, Yastremska, Andreescu. Those are the kind of losses. Those are the kind of players that Kenin loses to. She got demolished by Osaka and Collins early this season as well. So I think that just Garbiñe, she has the experience. She's looked dead set on this title. She has the redlining game, and the way she's playing it right now, I just don't think that Kenin has an answer. So we're doubling down. We're playing the 2-0 for plus 150.
Shame on both of you. James, 12 of the last 13 Grand Slam winners have been first-time winners. Or we've had different winners, I should say. Sonia Kenin, does she get the job done?
Yeah, I like how you've come to me last, because, of course, I personally have gone for a no bet on this match. So you've seen the arguments for Muguruza, and I think if I was going to take a play, this is the kind of situation where I probably would go with Muguruza. I think intuitively she probably is going to be too strong. But again, I have a problem that I feel like that history is priced in. And the problem that I have with this is that if you look at Kenin's prices, I mean, if this was a first round match, Kenin would be quite a strong favourite. And of course, that is a bit of an irrelevant point in the sense that it's not a first round match, it's a final. But it shows you that the bookies are aware of what's going on. And my issue with this is basically just that Kenin has not been a good player to go against when she's been in these kind of situations. Of course, you can make the argument she hasn't been in a slam final, and I think that's perfectly valid. But to me, these things can go both ways. The same way that Muguruza has played her best tennis on the big stage, I would say Kenin has played some of her very best tennis against the best players. And yes, she has sometimes been hit off the court by these guys, and I certainly would prefer her to play, if I was backing Kenin, I would prefer her to play someone else. But she's also beaten Williams, she's beaten Svitolina, she's beaten several players who have a very, very aggressive, powerful style. She took Osaka to 3 sets. Of course, she lost 6-1 in the end. But this is kind of my problem. That in that match, she was priced 2.6, and she lost in 3 sets. That makes me think the price wasn't far off. Yes, she lost badly in the 3rd set this time. maybe another time she's able to find that range a bit better. So for me, this is one of those matches where it's a complete clash of styles, really. Kenin can do a lot of different things. I think she's probably really going to be doing one thing against Muguruza, which is redirecting pace and essentially really just trying to keep herself in these rallies and hope Muguruza can't paint all the lines. And she's just beaten Barty, who was effectively tournament favourite. And Barty wasn't her best, particularly on the key points. But that kind of win for a young, up-and-coming player who's shown a lot of talent. Again, it's not dissimilar to Thiem in the sense that it's a young player who's shown a lot of talent, and they are probably going to break through at some point. And this is as good a spot as any. Probably not the best opponent, but she's in excellent form. She has been this year. She has been recently. She's only really been on the ascent for like the past 2-3 years. I mean, Kenin's ranking has just been going down and down and down and down and down. So, yeah, for me, this was a no bet. I think I would have gone with what the boys went with if I had to pick, but I would rather sit and watch and take notes for next time.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to give obviously both sides of the argument here. And you go with class, you go with Muguruza. But then you have to ask about the fitness worries that she's had. Will she run out of gas? Is this one game too much? Then you look at the omens, and the omen says Kenin. And then you look at the Russian mentality. And you have 12 of the last 13 different winners. So everything is saying that the underdog, who would be favourite if it was in round one, is overpriced. Right, gentlemen, I know you're all with Muguruza. We're cheering on Muguruza, by the way. I was just trying to play devil's advocate because obviously Snize wants the 600 ticket, and he wants Djokovic, and he wants everything else. You're going with 2-0. Is that right?
I like to.
Yes, I'm going.
And I guess just in general, like I thought James's breakdown was extremely on point. Like the pricing is, especially the opener. Like they really were asking for, a pound of flesh if you wanted to back Muguruza to win. It's come down. It's presenting some value, I think, especially as you get into the derivatives. Yeah, 2-0 for me. Muguruza -2.5 is one of my looks as well. But if I could only make one play on this one, I'm looking for over 9.5 games in the first set. I really have a tough time seeing either of these two players dominating out of the gate. I think this is going to be a back and forth first set, 2 breaks for each woman, and they decided in a tiebreaker. I like Muguruza in that spot because of her, her ability to make shots in those type of moments. For those reasons, I think 2-0 has value because again, I can see this if this goes the way of Kenin. Kenin wins a tight first set and also wins 2-0. Like I just have a tough time seeing this being a 3-set match either way, just based on sort of the style and mentality and how demanding those semifinals were, especially mentally.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. I just love it, and I cannot wait until the next Grand Slam already. Snize, go on, you put your hand up. You think you're in class or something?
No, I just wanted to add something there to Wales's point that if you think that Kenin is alive, if you think Kenin is going to win this, I would actually bet her first set money line over the full game money line because an interesting stat here for the Women's Australian Open Finals is that 30 of the last 34 women that have won also won the first set. So it is extremely unlikely, especially as Muguruza is a several times Grand Slam champion, that she will relinquish would she win the first set. So likely the first set winner here has to be Kenin for her to have a chance to win this match, or I think Muguruza runs away with it.
Okay, and you hope that she runs away with it more like. Okay, James, Snize, well, Kappa, absolutely. And listen, let me make sure that we thank Spread as well, who's the 4th member of the team. Can't have them all on at once. So it's a squad game done absolutely brilliantly. We've got 2 people in the final. We've got Djokovic on the men's, courtesy of Snize. And we've got Muguruza, courtesy of Snize. So, Snize, you're having a good week, my lad. So listen, good luck. Have a great weekend, and I thank you all. Well, Snize, James,